Hi, I'm Anne-Rae from Digital Journal here at the NAB 2013 with Ted from Red. And we're going to ask him a few questions about this setup that we have behind here. So Ted, I'll let you take that away.
Okay, yeah, so it's pretty unique what's going on in our world here. I don't think anybody else at NAB is actually upgrading cameras and built an actual manufacturing factory line. So that's one thing we did. There's a bunch of things at our booth, it's quite large. We're pretty much the main force in cinema now for digital cinema all over the world. And one of the things we're doing is, so we build the industry choice for big movies and small movies, and it's a camera called the Epic and the Scarlet, and they have a 5K sensor in them. And the only company that Red can beat with technology is ourselves. So, because we're already at the highest end of the industry, right? So what we're doing now is we're going from 5K to 6K. And we're completely in that leadership position. There's a whole bunch of other companies that are now tracking along and following along and doing what Red started to professing and then bringing to life 7 years ago with our 4K universe, and now we're well beyond that. So we moved from a 5K sensor to a 6K sensor, and we actually have our manufacturing line that we brought from our factory in Orange County. The cameras are built in California, so they're USA-made products. And this is a small version of what we have in our actual factory line. These are the actual technicians. And we are starting with taking apart the 5K Epic cameras, putting a new sensor in. It goes through all the procedures and processes of setting up, retesting, rebuilding, reassembling that camera for 6K for the new sensor. Goes through environmental testing. It's now down to -9, and it'll go all the way up to super, super hot. So it basically gets tested in a very short time, the rigors of actual production. Then it goes into back focusing and all the calibrations and checking all the procedures. Then all these cameras are here doing what's called burn-in, where they're actually making sure that the cameras are working properly. And they go through their laser etching step to brand them as Dragon cameras. And then the last step of the line I think is really interesting. So there's one technician who has no supervisor, he has no boss. His only boss is the camera itself. And his job is at the final stage, after everything is built and working, he does all the QC testing. He assembles all the different camera configurations that an end user would do. They put the handles on, they put the monitors on, they run it through everything, and if there's anything wrong, or even the hint that it might be wrong, he stops the line and says, we got to go and check and retool. That's why the cameras are so reliable, is because his job is to be the hardcore policeman that says, nobody tells me what to do. If the camera's wrong, we stop. I don't care how many are queued up in the line and how many customers that have to be delivered. They got to work, and they got to work exactly right all the time. So that's his job. And that's really what's going on. So that gentleman there at the very end is literally doing that right now. And his job is can stop it at any point in time.
That is fabulous.
And that's what happens.
So my question then is, is it only early adopters that can get their hands on a Red Dragon
today
update?
So this is the first day of NAB, and we made an announcement that we're upgrading their cameras now, starting now. So early adopters can put their orders in. There's the first customers that we've had. There are many thousands all around the world that believed in Red the first year we started, and everybody was laughing at us going, who are these guys? They're going to build a 4K camera, come on. Well, we did it. It became the industry standard. So they get that kind of love, and they can place their orders now. And then in a couple of days, at the last day of the show, we open up to a wider group for more customers. So if you own an Epic M, which is the machined Epics, the first ones we shipped, or in the early adopter phase, you can lock into that world.
So my question here then is, what made Jim and Gennard want to create a digital cinematic camera?
Sure.
I know it's revolutionized indie filmmaking and also Hollywood.
Yeah.
Like big blockbuster movies are now being filmed on Red cameras. If you can just give us a little bit of background to some of our Digital Journal audience who are not that familiar with
Okay.
Red cameras.
Yeah. Well, so the first thing is to get the whole story and get a real feel for Red, just go to red.com. That's our website, and you can dance around those little links and look at the shot on Red and all the thousands of movies that have been shot on these cameras, from Oscar-winning movies to the biggest blockbusters in the world to all those indie movies. And that was a big, important part of Jim's vision. He's our founder. He also started another very important company called Oakley 30 years ago that changed that industry. His passion has always been photography and cinematography, not only as a very advanced user, but as a professional. He used to shoot all the imaging for Oakley for the first 15 years or so of that company. So very important in that way. Always had an eye towards cinema. He has a huge professional camera collection. He He really understands optics, as you might imagine, for a guy that creates sunglasses, and the vision of the world. He found me in late 2005, and he and I started working on the project together, just the two of us in secret, and then brought in our whole engineering crew, and before you knew it, we had our first camera about a year and a half later, and we've been on overdrive ever since.
So do you see that you've made a historical impact on filmmaking?
Yeah, I think so. I think let's let time tell that. But I think if you
we're an independent also filmmakers, and our first camera was the red one. So I'm just to let you know. Yeah. So from our opinion, we were right when you just released the red one, and a lot of people who are still in the business and the industry kept saying, "Don't do digital. It is not the same as 35 millimeter." So we totally disagreed, and we went out and followed, Jim Gennard's dream, and now we are like the pioneers.
You win, right?
Yeah, so it is very exciting to see the Epic, and now the Dragon with the Dragon upgrade. So we're kind of like part of those early adopters.
Yeah, and I think if you talk to a lot of users like you, like when I show up at this show, a big part of what's exciting and motivating for me is I see so many people with those kind of stories that said, we took the risk, we saw your vision, we went for it, and we made a movie that simply could not have been achieved at that kind of cinema level. We didn't have the money to shoot film. It wasn't like we didn't want to or not want to. And if you actually think about what is the legacy of all this, it was never our intention to sort of disrespect film. In fact, it's the opposite. It's that there was an industry created that were creating cameras that were not being respectful to film, that did not have the resolution and the kind of photographic range and the look and feel of that creative dynamic of what film should be, right? And all we did is evolve film into a digital world and said, film is going to retire. It doesn't make any sense economically, it doesn't make any sense technologically anymore. But someone has to treat it with care and offer a proper next generation solution that wouldn't just be as good, but in many ways will be better. And that's really where we are now. So when we look at shooting on Epics and delivering to 4K with our Red Ray player or 4K digital cinema projection all around the world, you can pretty much talk to anybody around the world and say, you've achieved that first mission. You've hit those goals. You have changed the art and science of cinema for the better. And now there are many other companies that are following in our footsteps, which we think is terrific.
Yeah. It's okay to be the leader of the trend, or we call it disruption or digital disruption, or how do you foresee Red continuing to do this leadership type of role?
I do. I think there is no question that we like to be in the lead, that we like controversy, that we like disruption. We do not like to play it safe. And that's part of the thing that you have to understand. If you are driving in the forefront, you are not the safe play. You're going to take risks. And a lot of our users, as you know, because you did it, are the minute you go in, you're also part of that leadership group. And then you're responsible for educating others. And you take on that mantle, and it's important, right? So there's a big part of that that is really important to me personally and to our whole company about if you're going to lead, you need to do it right, you need to do it better than anybody else can, and you need to really build amazingly great tools, not just stuff that's good, but that blows away the industry and constantly does that. It's not easy, let me tell you. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, you'll got a lot of nights where you're kind of like tossing and turning.
Yes, and moments where you think we're never going to get there, but then you do, and it's really all about what that vision means and how important it is to continue to offer a lot of value to our customers and make sure that they know that they're really highly valued. So that's part of what we do.
Is it kind of like a family? You consider Red as a family, even from the Peter Jacksons all the way down to the indie filmmakers?
Yeah, that's exactly how it is. Is basically they're all in the same club together, and one is no less or more important. So I spend time with Peter Jackson, Jim spends time with Peter Jackson and David Fincher and Steven Soderbergh and all the big guys. And they buy cameras just like the indie guys. They don't get it for free. They buy their stuff because they need to support us in the industry. But at the same time, like I go to Sundance every year and there's a huge crop of movies. The predominant camera for Sundance movies is Epics and Red Ones and Scarlets. And I meet young filmmakers all the time that just say, this is my tool of choice, thank you. And then all the film school people and the young guns. We do a summer camp program called Camp Red that we run in the summer for young kids from 9 to 15, and we give them the same cameras as Peter Jackson, the same 3D rigs, they do everything, and it's pretty phenomenal. and that's the next generation. So we care about them too. So it's all that.
And I think that's why we're really interested in the company, Red Digital Cinema, because it's more than just the camera. It's the culture. You guys have created the culture, and you're supporting it. And it's not just talk. Yeah, there's a lot of action. I've seen you on traveling around the world, talking to just indie filmmakers, and you're going into their homes, and you're not just snubbing them. So that's really fantastic.
I mean, we're literally, it's not a normal customer-company relationship. Nothing about Red is really normal at all. It's because we are deeply connected with so many people, and it's thousands. We have this extended family of thousands of people all around the globe. I have friends in every part of the world that are doing really well with our cameras and have really created their life's work with these tools, and they're thrilled, and we're thrilled to be a part of it. We're thrilled to just see it happen, so it's great.
Thank you very much, Ted. I really appreciate you taking the time.
Thanks for being part of the club.
Oh, thank you. So that's Anne-Rae Vasquez at Digital Journal with Ted at the Red booth. Come on, if you're here at the NAB 2013, come and visit the Red booth and see what's happening behind us, and hope to see you, if you can't, online. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.